Let's expand the breadth of what we can do with Python functions by opening up a new notebook. You can do that doing File, New Notebook in Drive, assuming you're already opening Colab. And we're going to go ahead and call this More Functions. And we'll look at some different types of functions that we can do. Okay, so to start with, what if we square a number? Say get the area of a square. Okay, area of a square. And so the idea here is we're going to write a function to do this. Okay, so let's start with the keyword def. And then you want the function to say what it is. And so if it's the area of a square, you want to be a little terse, maybe area square. And then inside, well, what do you need to get the area of a square? You need to know the length of one of the sides. Okay, so that in the function goes to the side of the square. In this particular case, the area is just the side squared, and I'm going to go ahead and return it. Let's do that. Return side square. Now recall that squaring uses the exponentiation operator, which is repeated multiplication. Okay, so here's a function that gives us the area of a square given its side. Okay, press Shift Enter to store that function, and then recall that to call the function, you simply identify it by name. Okay, so if you start typing what you named it, not the def, that was just for the definition, area. I'm going slowly intentionally because look at this. It actually shows up as a part of the Colab library. It's the Python library in your Colab environment. And so you can go ahead and enter it, and then we could pick a square at any given side. Let's say 8. And I press Shift Enter. You get the expected output of 64. Okay, what if we want the area of a triangle? Now, to get the area of a triangle, the formula is 1/2 base times height. So you actually need 2 inputs. So let's see how to do that. So def, I'm gonna call it area triangle. You can see this is like building a cool math calculator here. And now the input is the base and the height. So the way you do this in Python, you just put one of them and then a comma for the other. And this is the same in math, where if you have functions with multiple variables, you could have x comma y. So base comma height. And then what are we going to do here? Well, maybe we want to write it down in a step. The area is equal to, well, it's 1/2, okay, times the base times the height. And you can just return the area. You could have just returned it. Either way is okay. It's a little bit more readable like this. Note the idea of the variable assignment here is that because you've defined area as 1/2 base times height, right, that's exactly what it is going to return. Okay, it's going to return 1/2 times base times height. So press Shift Enter to store it, and then to call it area triangle in this case. And now, we just pick a base and a height that maybe we could figure out, like 6 and 4. And so 1/2 of 6 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12. It's good to know what you're looking for. Press Shift Enter to see, and you can see you get the expected value of 12 as 12.0 due to the division operator in Python. Okay, next. What if we wanted to do something like perimeter and area of a rectangle? Okay, well, the idea here now is to return 2 items. So let's look at how to do that. So first of all, for definition, now I have a hard time spelling perimeter. I'm going to call it perim area rectangle. I'll even do rect for short. Okay, I'll just change it. Sometimes I go back and forth about, the point is just to be clear. And you can see, like, sometimes you can make mistakes if you write too much. I think rect would be clear. Okay, so what is the input here? Well, rectangles, depending on how you look at it, some people might choose length and width. I would choose base and height. Either way is okay. I'll go with the conventional length and width. Okay, and now what? Well, now you need instructions because you've got different things going on. So first of all, what's the perimeter? Well, the perimeter is length plus width plus width. And that's the same as 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Okay. Now the area by contrast, is simply the length times the width, or the base times the height. Okay, so I've got two values that I want here, length times width, and the perimeter, doubling the length and adding the double of the width. And here then to return both of them, you use the same idea as you do in the parentheses, which is a comma. And so you can return now param comma area. Okay, so that's how you return two elements or two values in Python. So press Shift Enter to store it. Again, make sure all your tabs are lined up. And let's go ahead and call this one prim area. You can see it's a lot. Prim area rect. And let's just give it some values. Like how about 1 and 2? And then press Shift Enter. Let's see what we get. Okay, you get, this is called a tuple in Python. This is its own type. We get the two desired values. This would have a perimeter of 6 and an area of 2. Okay, so that's really cool. What we're learning now is that we can return two values in Python using the comma, and our functions can have multiple inputs using the comma as the separator. I'll also add that neither are limited to 2. You could certainly have more. You can have as many as makes sense for your function.